The Warriors are currently second in the Western Conference, but I think that there are still room for improvement on this roster to really propel them to championship contender status. That's what we're going to talk about on today's show is the Warriors could possibly trade for Nets sharpshooter Cam Johnson. We'll discuss all that and more, what a proposal would look like. But first, if you guys think and agree with me that Golden State needs to make a trade to be a real contender in this league, to win an NBA championship, hit that like button on today's video. Smash the thumbs up icon. If we get 500 likes on today's show, maybe I'll drop a trade targets video so we can get more options on what Golden State can do to reach championship status. What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith, and on today's show, we're going to discuss the possibility of the Golden State Warriors trading for Brooklyn Nets swingman Cam Johnson. This is a guy who shoots the hell out of the basketball, and I think he could really unlock this Golden State Warriors team and really help them take the next step. Is he this flashy superstar guy that Golden State is guaranteed to win the championship because of? No, it's not like bringing in Kevin Durant, but this is a guy who definitely gets you closer to winning a championship, and I didn't come up with this on my own. There's been long reported interest, and Jake Weinbach on Twitter reported that the Warriors should be considered one of the teams that show regular interest in Nets forward Cam Johnson. A rudimentary trade package from Golden State would most likely include DeAnthony Melton, who we all know is out for the season with ACL surgery, an additional expiring salary, and a future first-round pick. So we'll talk about what it's actually going to cost for Cam Johnson later on today's show, but I want to talk about what he is as a player. How do we incorporate him into this Golden State Warriors roster? Because I think Cam Johnson has become one of the more underrated players in today's NBA. And honestly, with this season, he's really not so underrated anymore. He's really showing that he can be a guy who can, be a number 2, number 3 scoring option on a solid team. I mean, the Nets are the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference right now. I don't know if anybody realizes that. They're supposed to be at the bottom of the conference, but they're actually playing a little bit above their weight class right now, and the big reason is because of Cam Johnson. I mean, he's averaging 18 points a game, shooting the hell out of the basketball, like 43% from 3. It's ungodly numbers, and this guy could be a legitimate piece at the 3 for Golden State. What does Cam Johnson bring to the table? He brings shooting. Like I just said, this guy shoots 43% from three-point range. Do I need to say more? And he doesn't just do it off the catch. He does it on the ball as well. He can grab a rebound, push the ball down the floor, and if there's nobody in front of him, he has no problem taking that top of the key three-pointer. He can give you that little pump fake, a little sidestep three ball on defenders. He's multiple ways of killing you from outside the arc. He also has that elite size that you want in a wing. He's 6'8", got a 6'10" wingspan, and that offers a lot of defensive versatility. Can switch with a guy like Andrew Wiggins, can switch with a guy like Draymond Green in multiple different lineups that Golden State could throw out there. And he can honestly get switched onto a guard, and I wouldn't have much problem with it. I was watching some clips from Cam Johnson's outing against the 76ers last week where he put up 37 on 9 threes. Unbelievable performance. Brooklyn was down in that game, double digits. Cam Johnson brought him all the way back to take the lead and end up winning that game. And he had one play where Tyrese Maxey kind of beat him off the dribble, but Cam Johnson was able to get back and recover and block the shot, which resulted in a fast break. And then who else but Cam Johnson was on the receiving end of an assist on a three-pointer. He can do wonders for this Golden State Warriors offense. We'll talk more about what Cam Johnson provides in just a second, but first, I got to ask you guys, with what I've said so far, and with what you know in your heads, should Golden State trade for Cam Johnson? This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you a little ad break right here. Go down below, type Y for yes, and type N for no on whether or not Golden State should trade for Cam Johnson or not. So Cam Johnson, over the last 4 seasons, drafted back in 2019, and it's crazy. He is a 28-year-old player. Doesn't feel like he's been in the league that long, but he was a 4 or 5-year college player. He came into the league at like 23, and he's been in the season and been in the league about 5 years right now. So he's honestly more of a veteran than you guys think. But man, the past couple of seasons, he's only gotten better and better. This year, I mean, ungodly numbers across the board. I know it's a small sample size, only 18 games, but 18 points a night, and that's with a missed most of a game against Golden State just a couple nights ago, as he did sprain his ankle. Keep that in mind. But it's not something that's going to keep him out super long term. The Nets actually do have a big-time injury with Cam Thomas, who's going to be out about a month. I was confused there. I thought it was Cam Johnson for a second. But no, we're good. He should be fine back in a couple weeks. And the numbers that he puts up, like, he's a consistent 40% three-point shooter every single season. I think if he was brought over to this Golden State Warriors roster right now, I'm not saying they would be the best overall offense in the NBA. I still think that would go to the Boston Celtics. But I think that they would have the best shooting offense in the entire NBA. Think about it. You could run Steph Curry. You could run Buddy Hield. You could run Andrew Wiggins, who's shooting 40% from 3 this year, Cam Johnson, and a small ball Draymond Green at the 5, and you have a true 5-out lineup. Look at this stat on your screen right now. Cooking up something special. It's 90 points, across 3 games with 60% field goal percentage, and 19 threes in a 3-game span. Cam Johnson just did it last week. It's crazy, though. You see a couple other guys on your screen doing it once. Steph Curry's done it 16 times. I mean, man, I'll never get enough Steph love in my life. He is absolutely insane and unlike any basketball player I've ever seen. But back to Cam Johnson here. The Golden State Warriors have had reported interest in Cam Johnson dating back to July when Golden State was trying to make a move to improve their roster over the offseason. We think about Lauri Markkanen, we think about Paul George, but a lot of people think that Golden State's plan B was a deal to swing Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Golden State went the other route of signing a bunch of free agents, and it didn't end up working out. But who says they can't, bring up some interest back right now in this season when, they're kind of down a body right now, losing DeAnthony Melton for the whole season. They need more shooting on this roster, and it's not like this is, an out of the blue idea. New York Post over the summer called Golden State a dark horse spot. To be fair, they listed a couple other locations like the Magic and the Lakers ahead of Golden State. But I think at this point now, I don't think they're a dark horse anymore. I think they are a legitimate contender to try and trade for this guy. And I don't think the Nets necessarily want to keep him around super long term because of the position they're in right now in the East. We'll talk about that more later. But Cam Johnson overall is not the flashy superstar. This isn't like trading for Jimmy Butler. Honestly, though, I think Cam Johnson could be a little bit more valuable than a guy like Jimmy Butler in this Golden State offense. But he's not like a Kevin Durant. He's not like somebody who's a bona fide all-NBA teamer who's going to just push this Golden State Warriors team, going to add 20 wins and be that playoff guy who you can go to when Steph's maybe a little bit cold for a stretch or he's off the floor. But he is a perfect fit for this roster, playing within the flow of a Golden State offense. He loves moving without the ball in his hands, coming off of pin downs, coming off of different flare actions, off-ball screens. He can get the rock in the bucket in so many different ways. And overall, I think he just takes this offense to a new level. I don't necessarily think the Golden State Warriors offense is bad right now. It's not. It's actually near the top of the league. But who says you can't get more shooting on an already great shooting roster? That's what we're going to talk about next. What does a Cam Johnson trade look like for Golden State? What would they have to give up? And would Golden State get anything back in return in addition to Cam Johnson? We'll unpack all of that in just a moment. But first, I got to give a major shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports partner with over 10 million active members. And it's so easy to win real money in real time on Prize Picks. And we're going to hook you guys up with $50 in your account for free when you use our promo code CLNS and place your first $5 entry. And you might be asking, how do you place an entry? Well, it's super simple. All you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 player stat projections and just pick more or less. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. And they're always trying to give you incredible deals to make even more money. Check out this awesome deal that Prize Picks is giving out right now. On Turkey Day, the football games will be rocking, and Tyreek Hill, to get more than half a receiving yard, lock that in on this entry on Prize Picks. I'm taking that every single time. And I also decided to pair it up with 2 dubs. They face the Thunder tonight, and I think Stephen Curry is going to have a very, very solid night against SGA. Give me more than 23.5 points. And then Lindy Waters, a little bit of a revenge game for Lindy going against his old team, the OKC Thunder. Give me more than 8.5 points for Lindy. You could fade my picks. You could take my picks. Just do it at Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Run your game. Make sure you guys download the app and use that promo code CLNS to get $50 in your account for free when you place your first $5 entry. You don't even need to win to receive the $50. Prize Picks. Run your game. So multiple teams have shown interest in Cam Johnson. And it's one of those situations where I think he's going to be a hot commodity. When the trade deadline comes around, or even as close as a couple weeks from now, past December 15th, and when he gets back healthy, I think people are going to be calling about Cam Johnson. I think the Nets might even be calling people about Cam Johnson, as well as Cam Thomas. They might have a little bit of a midseason fire sale as they try to get closer and closer to the chances of a #1 overall draft pick. So with that being said, I think there's going to be a lot of suitors for Cam Johnson out there. I'm not sure that it's necessarily going to come cheap for Golden State. Who are they going to have to give up in this deal? Well, according to Bleacher Report, they think that Jonathan Kuminga would be a guy that would be included in this deal. Josh Schwartz said this. He said the Nets should be targeting wings with upside while looking to move veterans like Cameron Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith. Kuminga is perhaps the most intriguing young wing in the NBA who hasn't signed an extension with his current team. Now, I don't think that Golden State wants to deal Kuminga for Cam Johnson. Whether or not you think that's right or not, I just don't think that they do, because they wouldn't trade him for Paul George in the offseason. They wouldn't trade him for Lauri Markkanen in the offseason. So what makes you say that they would trade Jonathan Kuminga for him right now, for Cam Johnson right now? That doesn't make much sense to me. But to be fair, he is trade eligible. Like Schwartz said, he doesn't sign the extension, and he could potentially be in a deal I just don't think that Jonathan Kuminga will be the headliner of any Cam Johnson one-for-one deal. If Dorian Finney-Smith was involved, potentially, but I don't see Jonathan Kuminga being the one-for-one deal done by Golden State. So going back to this right here, when Weinbeck says De'Anthony Melton's going to be included in the trade, I was running through a couple of ideas on Fanspo and trying to get the trade machine working and pumping, and they told me that, and I knew this, but De'Anthony Melton cannot be traded until December 15th. Unfortunately, they wouldn't tell me anything else about the money and all that, so they only told me that he's not eligible to be traded until December 15th, so this trade would not be able to happen for a couple more weeks. But to be fair, Cam Johnson's going to be out for about a week or two, so that doesn't really do much for me. That's totally fine. If this trade gets done in a couple weeks from now, I'm totally with it. Sign me up. And this is the idea that I had. To be fair, this kind of coincides with what Weinbeck was saying earlier in the tweet. Is this would I totally value Cam Johnson at? No, but this is what I think Golden State would offer in a package. And is it a great package for Brooklyn? No, but De'Anthony Melton, Gary Payton II, Luis Santos, 2 first-round picks. I decided to include an extra first-round pick because, let's be honest, the pieces they're getting back physically are not that great. De'Anthony Melton's not going to be suiting up in a Brooklyn Nets uniform this year or any year. He's on a 1-year deal. Gary Payton II, expiring contract. And Luis Santos, expiring contract. He's not even going to be in the rotation. So that's what I'd go with there. Why was Brooklyn do this trade, though? Let's be honest. Brooklyn should not be trying to compete right now. Brooklyn is the 8th seed. They probably should not want to continue to be the 8th seed and make a playoff push because there is 0 chance of them winning an NBA championship this year. There's honestly 0 chance of them even winning a playoff series, in my opinion. They have shown interest in Cooper Flagg. They have shown interest in getting that number 1 overall draft pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Why would you want to have players around like a Cam Johnson, like a Cam Thomas, like a Dorian Finney-Smith, guys who contribute to winning? You get stuck in no man's land that way. You become the Chicago Bulls doing that. You do not want to be the Chicago Bulls. Brooklyn has a plethora of draft picks. They should continue to want to stockpile those and continue to build their young talent. They got good guys out there. I mean, Cam Thomas, he might not be a long-term piece, but a good young player that they drafted. Shout out Noah Clowney. He's coming along pretty solid. They got some Jalen Wilson's getting big minutes for the Brooklyn Nets. They got some solid pieces that are, just going to be role players down the line that they can build around. Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Thomas, those aren't guys that probably Brooklyn should want around right now. I think Brooklyn should be as bad as can be. They should want to be as bad as can be. They should want to be the bottom seed in the Eastern Conference coming this year. Because what's the point? You're not selling extra tickets for keeping Cam Johnson around. You're only winning more unnecessary games that take you further and further away from more lottery balls to go out and get that number 1 pick. So let me know what you guys think. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be typing your A's for accept right here on this trade. Cam Johnson for De'Anthony Melton, Gary Payton II, Luis Santos, and 2 first-round picks. Would you make this trade type A for accept, type D for decline? Let me know down in the comment section. And if you disagree with me, shout at me on Twitter. Hit me up. Tell me I'm a fool. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me this trade would never happen. Smitty at CS on Twitter/X. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Guys, if you made it this far in today's video, go type real one at the bottom in the comments section because we are 14 subs away from 70K. If you're new here and you stay to the end, make sure you are subscribed for the best Golden State Warriors content on YouTube all season long. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Dubs.